Line up, you fucking nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week. A little late night coffee for me, man. What's up, Mike? What's up, people?
Late night coffee. See, it's 6:40 out here in Huntington, so this ain't late night. I'm looking at the sun right now.
I'm right now looking at blackness outside, bro. It's 9:40 by me, so I got that 3 hours ahead. This is my, this is my bedtime coffee. Gives me, a little good sleep aid, man. I'm excited to talk about the fights, Mike.
I am too, but I must say, clearly you don't listen to Huberman Lab because caffeine lasts for 10 to 12 hours in your system.
Really?
So if you're having coffee at night, you're going to sleep like shit, my friend. And then guess what? You're going to wake up in the morning and I know what you're going to drink. You're going to be like, I'm tired. I need more coffee. And it's a vicious cycle, my friend.
That is crazy.
No coffee over here. I haven't had a sip of coffee since like high school.
Huberman, listen, he's a conspiracy theorist. I'm riding with the coffee train. Coffee is a good sleep aid for me, bro. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. Don't bring Huberman into this thing to ruin my cup, man. It's a beautiful flavor. It's macadamia nut. This is a nice way to spend my night, you know?
Look, I don't have the money to go to Stanford, so I got to take it from the professor himself.
Respect.
I got to take it from the professor. Always believe in things based on evidence, folks, not people. But Huberman Lab's pretty damn good. And, I got friends who say, oh, in order to go to bed, I need to smoke weed. Same thing. This shit is not giving you good REM sleep, folks.
That is true. Yeah.
No coffee afternoon, folks. You know what I got? Water. All right? This is how you do it later in the day, AJ. Wise up.
Listen, I enjoy the coffee. It's all about how much I'm enjoying. You know what I'm saying? It's peace of mind, this cup right here, man. It gets me ready to chat it up for the next hour.
Fair enough. Let's chat it up, my friend. Did you see that the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Lee retired?
Kevin Lee, what happened was, got ran over by Fakhretdinov, who's a guy that I think is to the level of the top 10. So that gave Kevin Lee his marker. Oh, shit, I just got blown out of the water by this guy. Now, imagine Kevin Lee in a fight, even with the likes of a Brian Battle, who, if you look back at the Fakhretdinov fight, at the very least went long. It was a match. So I feel like he lost a lot of confidence in how far he can go at welterweight, and he knows that his body is not capable of getting to 55. So it's like, yes, the UFC will pay him, but does he want to be a name on resumes for probably the next couple years? I could see him getting a win against a back-end welterweight. They give him a matchup, but it's going to be the simple ringer. He gets a win, maybe 2 if he's lucky. They keep running. He gets ran over. Down he goes. And then it's just, I don't know, being a professional opponent at that point. I don't think that was ever Kevin Lee's intentions. He fought for the interim title. There was always a lot of hype around Kevin Lee. I always heard the hype, and even in fights, there was always moments that you saw it. For me, my peak of Kevin Lee was when he strangled Chiesa. I'm like, damn, okay, Kevin Lee. And even his loss to Tony Ferguson, he had staff. He was on top. He mounted Ferguson. There's an argument, what if he was 100% for that fight? The fight game is so circumstantial too, right? Maybe if he didn't have staff, who knows? Maybe somehow he finishes off Ferguson and Kevin Lee would have been a world champ. You get what I'm saying, though? You know what I'm saying, though?
It was interim.
It was interim. He would have had a world championship belt. You know what I'm saying? He would have had it in his back of his house. Unfortunately, Kevin Lee goes down as maybe a guy that was overrated for a long time. But I think the fan base started to catch on fairly quick. Skill set, I feel like, just never was able to just perfectly blossom. But the talent was there. Is what it is, man. That's the unfortunate Kevin Lee end. But you know what? I'll remember the good moments. I still think Kevin Lee probably made a shitload of money, and I expect him to be able to sell himself in whatever venture he goes towards. So to Kevin Lee, wishing him well, man.
Hey, of course, wishing him well. Look, You say Kevin Lee moments, you're thinking of the Chiesa back take and the Tony Ferguson mount. How about the head kick knockout of Gregor Gillespie? That is one of the sickest knockouts I've ever seen. He's seen the vicious side of this game, both delivering the pain and, like we saw 2 weeks ago, being on the other end of it, and coming back to the UFC, I just don't think that was a good matchup for him. It seemed like everybody who picks fights pretty much was on the same side. I mean, my friends all definitely were pretty damn sure Fakhretdinov was about to do something like that. It was the matchup, man. I do think he could beat the bottom half of the roster. I do. I think he dominates the bottom half of the roster. It's just when he gets into that top 10, where things get hairy, and how many other guys can you say that about? I mean, he's still in the top bit of the welterweight division, and it seems to me that if he would have come back with a more favorable matchup, I don't know, a Nico Price, I don't know who, but something winnable, we might see a different career trajectory for him. So it's kind of sad. He gets thrown to a real prospect who's on fire in Fakhretdinov, and then chooses to retire. I wish him well. I'll say this: 2 years, we see him back.
You're predicting a comeback of Kevin Lee. You don't think the retirement holds. You know what? I kind of see it too. He's only 30, so he's going to have left the game early. A year and a half is going to go by. He's going to still be working a bit of training. And if he doesn't, as soon as he goes back into the gym, the itch is going to come back, and he's going to see all these guys and say, man, I got the skills to win. He does have this, like you said, he does have the skills to beat these back-end guys. He'd run over a Takashi Sato. He'd sub him. I mean, he still has a win over Michael Chiesa. I don't know how that fight would go today, but there's matchups for Kevin Lee at 170 that he wins. Where I still believe he would be able to do fairly well would be if he could get his body down to 55, but I just don't think that's possible. He is the true definition of the tweener, man. He's right between lightweight and welterweight. Unfortunately, there's no weight class that suits him. At 165, Eagle FC, it just went downhill, man. Habib said, I'm done with Eagle FC, and then Kevin Lee had to jump back to the UFC and be used as really just an opponent. I mean, they used him as an opponent. We knew before the fight he was an opponent there. It was let's build up Fakhretdinov, and the way that he beat Kevin Lee, his stock jumped a ton.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So in the off chance that's the last time we see Kevin Lee, all the best to him. And he's got a lot of memorable fights for us. And like I said, one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. That's really saying something from a wrestler. Dixon asked me in the chat about Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Do you buy this shit?
It's official. It's official.
It's official.
It's official. Mike, did you see my video, bro? I dropped the official reaction to it, my man. You missed it.
Brother, just so everybody knows, I've had the family out this weekend. I haven't even watched all the UFC fights from last week. I got a lot of catching up to do, folks. Yes. No, I just saw a poster. Okay, so it's real. Well, then, giving you guys my breakdown, obviously Tyson Fury boxes his face off if it's a boxing match. AJ, break it down for me since I don't know. What are the rules?
It's boxing, 10 rounds, non-title fight. They haven't said whether it's pro or exhibition, but I'm going to assume it's going to be pro. And even if it is somehow exhibition, I'm assuming it's a pro fight under, the exhibition name. Okay. It's going to be, I think it's a pro fight, though, because I know there's a rematch clause. If Francis is somehow able to win, Fury gets an immediate rematch. So there isn't like a way that Francis could win and then say, I'm never boxing again. I just took out the main guy. He has to fight Tyson Fury a second time if he's victorious, which he's most likely not going to be. So when I broke it down, I said Francis Ngannou is definitely going to be strong in the clinch. He hits hard, but he is at a pure boxing skill set disadvantage by a vast margin. He's going to be slow from the outside, trying to close the distance on Tyson Fury. Obviously, Cyril Gane is a kicker, but in that fight there, his knees were hurt too. But regardless, I'll just look at it like, okay, he did have a little bit of difficulty even from the outside closing the gap on Gane. Yes, it's MMA, not boxing, but fighting a taller guy with longer reach is not something that Francis is, necessarily used to often in MMA. Now you take it to boxing rules. Now you take it to Tyson Fury, who is really a technical masterpiece of a boxer. He's great. Tyson Fury has the build of, just an average middle-aged guy, but the way he moves, the way his hands fly, and his fight IQ in the ring is some of the best in boxing ever. So I think that it's going to be Francis getting TKO'd, bro.
hold up, average guy. He's 6'9", brother.
Like the gut, man, the gut inside. I'm talking about the physique. Obviously he's a giant, so he's like the dad bod giant.
Yeah. Oh, he's the dad bod goat. I mean, he's the who else is
Cormier though? I don't know, man.
Cormier. Oh, this is even more extreme. Cormier's got the belly. I mean, Tyson's got the bag of milk look to him. Tyson's out there, and I like how he's, he goes the shirt off all the time. He'll wear the jacket with the shirt off, let the belly hang out over the pants.
Will we lose Mike Finch? Mike Finch froze on.
Fury's got the best head movement in the heavyweight division. The problem is that he doesn't block like a lot of these other guys, so he's really good against these power punchers. These power punchers are loading up, turning their hips over big. In order for Francis Ngannou to have any success in this fight, he's going to need to trick Tyson Fury. That's hard to do. Francis Ngannou, obviously.
We got me, or is this Finch?
It was that Deontay Wilder fight. He wanted it so bad, and Deontay Wilder just has the nuclear option. He's not much of a technical boxer, using a flick jab and whatnot. He's just setting up the nuke, and that's what Francis does too. It's kind of like Tyson's kind of made for these fights. The harder fights for Tyson Fury are like an Usyk or people who could really box. I think these punchers are going to continue to struggle against Tyson Fury, so it'll be fun to see. I want to see some Francis Ngannou sparring. I'm going to be in Vegas in October, so do you know when the fight date is, AJ?
October 28th in
okay,
I believe Saudi Arabia.
I'm going to go ahead and be at Extreme Couture in early October. So I'll ask questions. I'll try to see what I can do. I'll talk to people. I want to see who Francis was sparring in the gym and who he chooses to train with for this fight. So super excited about that. Is my Wi-Fi connection good? People,
it was lagging out a bit, Mike. I was wondering, is it me or
am I back?
You're back now. You're good now. Okay. And I got to pull up this comment right here, Dixon Sider. This is something that was interesting. This is like a speculation pic. Did you see the picture of them two side by side? It doesn't look like Tyson Fury 6'9". I've heard things that he's 6'7", but with the dress shoes on with the little heel in the back, it's a 6'9".
I of course, heights you should never trust. I met Randy Couture and Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz is like 6'4". Randy Couture is like 5'11". I mean, it's just like you could see them face off. They're not the same height, but they're both 6'2" when they square off. If you guys watch my MMA fights, I'm 6 feet. And all my MMA fights, I think I'm like 5'11". I give myself a little credit. You know what I mean? So, people are going to say their heights generally when they fight, and that doesn't always mean they're accurate. So that's a good point. And also you could see, Dixon, that when Tyson Fury faced off with Francis Ngannou in the boxing ring, they were very similar height. And Francis is what, 6'5"?
Francis is technically 6'4" listed, 6'4". But I don't know. You hear mixed things. It's word of mouth, like you said. It's word. We don't know for sure. I know he's got an 82-inch reach though,
and he might have had shoes on. He might have had shoes on, and Tyson didn't, because I think Tyson just boxed. If I remember,
but they didn't look that far apart in height. It looked like 6'5" to 6'7", in my honest opinion. This is a funny one, Finch, that I got to bring up here. If you're going to Extreme Couture, what are the odds you'd spar with Sean Strickland if he was there for a video?
100%. If Sean Strickland wants to spar on video, I'm throwing the fucking gloves on. Dude, I just sparred my guy Kevin today. I'm feeling it, dude. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling loose. AJ was sending me his old sparring videos against Brandon Allen. Allen, who's going to be fighting for BKFC tomorrow. Shout out BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, where we do bare knuckle bets, which you guys will see that drop tomorrow morning on the BKFC app. Super plug right there. And dude, I'm totally down to make some content. I already have some ideas. I think I'm gonna roll with Mads Brunel. I'll be in the gym. I'll definitely interview Tatiana Suarez. Hopefully, get some training in with her and Patchy Mix. I got some ideas. So the thing is, I haven't talked to any of these fighters yet. So one step at a time. But October, Vegas, me versus Sean Strickland. I like it.
And we got Don F with the super chat. I got to shout him out. He just dropped it in and reminded me. I saw him saying, what the hell? You guys ain't answering? Don F, I see it now, my man. These effing savages. You're a savage, bro. And I appreciate you a ton, my brother. I appreciate the 5. My apologies for taking a second, bro. We got carried away with the Sean Strickland sparring talk and whatnot.
He's these guys just want to see me get punched in the face. Let me
Yeah.
just squash this. Joel Perez puts
Yes.
out, who would win in an MMA fight, Finch or AJ? Just so you all know,
Yes.
AJ and I are on the same team,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So
Finch
if
would
you
be the
wanna
favorite,
fight,
though.
it's Finch plus AJ, all right? That's what we need to
Bro,
know.
we want to do a double team tag team boxing match. That's the plan, bro. That would be sick, bro. The influencer boxing comes off. You
Us
got me and
versus
Finch in a tag
MMA
team.
Guru and somebody else, all right? Let's go.
That would be legendary. It's Guru and I don't know, some other British person. I don't know who else from England we could bring. There's not really any other British boxing YouTuber MMA that I can think of, to be honest. He's the one and only. That's why he blew up, because that's a
He's
unique
Australian.
speaking voice, right?
I thought he was Australian. Okay, he's British. All right,
Yeah.
fair enough. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys are gonna need to come up with a tag team. All right, me and AJ are on the same team.
Let's go.
Anyway, do you want to talk about some fist fights?
I do, bro. I'm actually really stoked for this card, Mike. I feel like,
Oh, it's the biggest card of the year.
It does. It's right. It doesn't have the name value and something you said I've been hearing. But when you start digging into the matchups, I do expect some fire action. And we're going to start it off with the first fight of the night between Ailin Perez and Ashley Evans Smith. Mike, I have to pick Ailin Perez here. I was not overly impressed by the debut. I'm not overly impressed by the Samurai Fight House matches that she has throughout her career. But Ashley Evans Smith is 2.5 years away from the game. I don't know, man. I do say, like, when I watched her versus Norma Dumont back, I liked the kickboxing from range. If she could turn this into a kickboxing match, I think she's got an advantage on Perez, but I just worry that she's going to have the gap closed on her. I have to ride with the girl who's training consistently to fight and fighting all the time. I got to go with Ailin Perez here, Mike Finch. What are your thoughts?
I'm going with Ashley Evans Smith.
I like
and
it.
this is why,
Yes,
okay? Because me and Ashley Evans Smith are friends now. I train with her boyfriend, okay, Mike Wilson, who owns 10th Planet Whittier. He just opened his own 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. He's a black belt. I was taking his classes for a little while. We were working on some leg locks together. I go over there and roll with his guys on the occasional Sunday, and I've seen her in there training consistently, and a big deal for me is whether or not somebody's learning when they have that time off. When people have time off and they're on the couch, that's a big difference. She's battled with some injuries, but she's come back now and she's been training jiu-jitsu with her boyfriend, who's a jiu-jitsu black belt. It means something, man. Especially, you know, a lot of these women do date guys within the MMA world. I'm thinking of like a Joanne Calderwood who became Wood. Did she not get better? It's like when you're embedded in it, you know, when you also are with somebody who trains. Been with my wife for 14 years. She doesn't train, so I don't have this advantage, right? Maybe she could learn some jiu-jitsu from me sometime, but I think that because she's with that jiu-jitsu black belt and she trains with them that consistently, she's been getting better on the ground. So her with an improved ground game, she does have a decent cross. I do think she could bounce back here and get a W, especially against a Perez who we just saw get finished by Egger. Just submitted her. So, you know, I'm not running out and betting on this fight, but I would say Ashley Evans Smith is going to be game. I do think she's going to be, you know, not so rusty. She's been rolling with really good people for a long time, and her technique on the ground for sure will be more advanced than you guys have ever seen it.
That's interesting, man, because that's cool that you know that inside shit. Because I will say, Ashley Evans Smith at plus 200, if she was fighting actively, I don't think this is a crazy mismatch, but it's that layoff that's given me and probably the bookies and, you know, tons of people that are picking it. I guess this is my thought process here. Ashley Evans Smith is a live underdog, but is it necessarily worth throwing down on? Depends how much you're going to be attacking with, because it is plus money, bro. It's actually swelled. It opened up at actually, no, it's actually dropped a bit. Wow. Plus 350 it opened at. Now it's plus 200. So people have been playing the line a little bit. Ailin Perez at minus 235. I would not ever consider betting. Right. So I mean, if I have to bet something here, a light dog stab, I think, is what I'd prefer too. And I'll say this, I do think that Evan Smith is the better kickboxer. I know that. It's just, how does she deal with that Perez pressure? Perez is not overly impressive to me too. So listen, Mike Finch, like, it's not like I'm flipping the pick per se, but if you have to bet it, it's like realistically a dog or pass fight in my mind. I wouldn't bet a 235 favorite at Perez here against Evan Smith.
Exactly. No, I don't think Perez is bettable here. You just don't, you can't really tell when somebody's out for so long how they'll come back. I mean, ring rust is real, but I would definitely at least say that her jiu-jitsu is going to be better than ever. And like you said, she's good on the feet. She's got a big cross that she puts on women, and she should be a little bit superior up there. And if she gets to the top position, I think her jiu-jitsu is going to be nice, man. Definitely high level. They got a lot of black belts over there who train, and they roll with everybody around Southern California. All the 10th planets roll with each other. So it's a lot of good training for her. I could definitely say that she's never, been so sharp on the ground. I mean, at least the technique wise, she's going to be prepared. Of course, you got to knock that ring rust off. But is this such a crazy fight to come back to? I mean, she's not starting at the top of the division. Perez is beatable. I'm gonna go with Ashley Evans Smith, just because also if she sees me next time, I don't want to get armbarred. You know what I'm saying? I can't be getting beat up by Ashley Evans Smith. And I like that she's embedded in this, man. She's not just back for one fight, AJ. This is the first fight back, and she's not just cashing out really quick. She's making a run to get a title shot. She's serious about it. So, we saw that last week, right? Rob Whittaker was like, I need money.
Mike Finch froze on us, man. Mike Finch, we got to have him do a Wi-Fi reset when he gets back. But I know he's talking about Rob Whittaker.
Why Ashley Evans Smith is
Mike Finch, you froze on us, brother.
Damn
it,
dude!
Wi-Fi? What happened?
My internet is messing up. Am I back?
You're back now. You're back. We lost what you were saying, Mike.
All right. I'm saying that Ashley Evans Smith is my pick. That's all I'm saying, folks. I brought it back to the Dricus Duplessis thing. You heard that?
Yeah,
I
heard that.
Duplessis like, I want the title. I'm here for the belt. That's a better motivation than I need one paycheck, which was Rob Whittaker's motivation, admittedly, at the press conference. Same thing here, man. Ashley Evans Smith is back to try to do a run.
Let's go. Pick Perez for me, low confidence. Mike Finch on Evan Smith. I do think it's a dog or pass fight. Let's get to the next one. It is Carl Deaton III taking on Alex Munoz. I'm going to be picking the side of Alex Munoz. Fights out of the southpaw stance. He's a pretty athletic wrestler. I can see him landing strikes on the feet and setting up takedowns. I do think Deaton, he's going to do better than he did in his debut. I mean, he came in on real short notice against Joe Selecki and got ran over on the ground. I expect Munoz, though, to find takedowns in this fight. He's also comfortable at the Apex. Munoz fought Nick Newell over at the Apex when he debuted. I guess not debuted. It's a Contender Series fight, but he shut down the Nick Newell hype train, who obviously the UFC was probably hoping would get the win, or maybe the fans at the very least, because Nick Newell getting a UFC shot was always something I feel like that was hoped for by people that were fans of the sport. Munoz beat some unanimous decision. I'm expecting a Munoz unanimous decision here. I think he's the better wrestler, and I think that's the way he wins it with Deaton.
Yeah, I think that, at 33 years old, it's like now or never for Munoz. He's battled with some knee injuries, AJ. I think that's held him back a little bit. If I remember correctly, he fought with like a partially torn ACL. I hope I'm saying the injury right. He fought with a knee injury before, and hopefully we get a more healthy Munoz. And if that's the case, I think Deaton's in trouble. You said it yourself. Deaton got ran over by Selecki, and Munoz is probably a good enough wrestler to get to top positions, grind out a decision here. Pretty good fight between these two. Not one I'm running out for, but Munoz 0-2 is a lot different than Deaton's 0-1. His first fight was the decision loss to Nasrat. And then second one was the Luis Pena fight, which was split decision. It was really close. I mean, some people had Munoz, some people had Pena. It could be his moment right now to grind out this decision. So striking and wrestling from Munoz. I do think he gets it done. I think the move to Team Alpha Male was probably a pretty good choice for him. Team Alpha Male is going to get his, crossing his T's and dotting his I's on the ground so he doesn't run into any submissions here. And Munoz grinds out a decision with the wrestling.
The odds for the fight, Munoz is -186, Deaton at +161. I'm picking Munoz to win, as is Finch, man. Decision win for Munoz. I'm not crazy about the bet, but I do want to read off the prop is +150. And that over 2.5 sits at -220. Give us the side of Munoz to win. Let's keep running up the card. Next matchup on it is super exciting. It's Tyson Nam versus Azat Maksum. Maksum's a 16-0 prospect coming from Kazakhstan, debuting against a crafty and dangerous veteran in Tyson, who was really ran over by Bueno Silva in his last fight here. I think Maksum is going to be a really hard stylistic matchup. He looks very slick with his stand-up game, and he also has a good grappling base. Nice jab, one of the better MMA jabs. I mean, he'll throw double, triple jabs out there, follows with a nice straight. I can see him hurting Nam on the feet. I can see him getting it to the ground and potentially subbing him as well. So my official pick is going to be Maksum. And I've talked about, I like inside the distance a lot here. A lot. I officially called knockout, but I definitely could see sub also. So inside distance, if you're looking to prop, would be better. You thinking Maksum's that guy, Finch?
I mean, Tyson Nam at 39, like in the lighter divisions, that's just not where you're going to find a ton of success. So I do think that makes a lot of sense, right? He's coming off of the bad loss to Bueno Silva. And yeah, Azat's been fighting decent competition and he's a finisher. I like a knockout pick.
Knockout pick is the fucking pick, lad. Yeah, I think the finish for Maksum, it's more about does he end up clubbing subbing him, because I don't think that's impossible. As far as the odds, though, minus 415 for Maksum. He's a wide money line. Nam is plus 315 as a dog. I think Maksum, good favorite pick. I do think he gets the finish. I like the ends inside distance, or under 2.5 rather, at minus 140. And then the Maksum winning inside of the distance is minus 125. I really think he does get a finish compared to the straight money line of minus 415. Maksum money line would be more of the parlay piece, the play. If you're looking to attack something singular, it would probably be inside distance Maksum, at least on my end, man. I like Azat Maksum to win with confidence, bro.
Yeah, I do think at 39, it's about that time for Tyson Nam. So I understand the finish pick. It could start going downhill for him here, and the matchup is one where I think they'll clash. So you're thinking like first round?
I'm thinking it's, to be honest, I could see it in the second too. I got to give Nam some respect. It's not like I think he gets, I mean, could he get blown out of the water like Kevin Lee did last time? If he just gets, blitz fast and finishes, not impossible because Maksum is that guy. But I could see Maksum being patient. Nam still dangerous even at 39, and Maksum knows that. So I don't think he'll like overextend himself for an early finish. But I could see him finding one.
Yeah,
I just like inside distance, man.
I like the inside distance. I wish that was plus money, but I think inside distance makes sense. Yeah. Give me Maksum knockout. I'm doubling up with you, my friend.
Let's go. Maksum for the win. Next fight on the card, we have Evan Elder versus Genaro Valdéz. I really like this fight for Evan Elder. He had a really nice performance, even in loss, against Nazim Sadykhov last time out. I don't want to compare him to Drew Dober right now or anything. It makes him, that's like a, what is the word? That would be maybe like an overhyped comparison. But Evan Elder's a heavy-handed guy who's physically strong. He definitely can wrestle. He made his debut up a weight class against a really underrated and dangerous guy in Preston Parsons, and obviously took a tough loss there. But the performance against Sadykhov, it's arguable he's winning that fight before the doctor's stoppage. So I like Evan Elder's skill set a lot. And then when I look at Genaro Valdéz, I see a dangerous and tough guy, but someone who's a bit hittable, not as athletic. I don't think he's going to be able to match him with the speed on the feet. And I think that Elder could also bully him in the grappling department. To me, it's about Evan Elder. How's he getting it done? I'm thinking he gets a TKO. I can see him hurting Valdéz on the feet. Valdéz maybe turtling up against the cage, some big ground and pound strikes. Valdéz is tough as nails, but he's been finished before, and I think Evan Elder does have the stinging power to put a Valdéz away.
Yeah, Evan Elder, I like what you said there, that it could be fast. And brother, I think mounted TKO too. Like, when Valdéz strikes, he likes to plant his feet. And when somebody plants their feet, go back to George St. Pierre versus Thiago Pitbull Alves. Shout out to the ATT coach and one of our favorite fighters we've seen. Thiago Pitbull Alves is a beast, but he plants his feet. Like when he boxes and he throws punches, you see him get heavy. And the same thing with Valdéz. And what Evan Elder might be able to do is mix in those takedowns. When he plants his feet to turn his hips over and load up on his shots, that's when we can see Evan Elder level change, get to the top position. And I see what you're seeing. I think he could pass that guard. I got mounted TKO is what I wrote down here for Mr. Evan Elder.
Yeah, I like the method of victory call. I'm seeing a TKO minus 300. He's a big favorite. Valdéz is a plus 250 underdog. That TKO side for Evan Elder sits at plus 140. I'm expecting that, though. I see him getting a stoppage. Minus 300 is a bit wide, not a crazy parlay piece, but I do think TKO is fairly likely here. I use the comparison, right? Natan Levy last time beat a Genaro Valdéz. Evan Elder is much more heavy-handed than someone like a Natan Levy. Obviously, Fervola ran over Valdéz fight before that pretty brutally. Not saying Elder has the exact same style as a Matt Fervola, but there are things you can like slightly compare in the way they'll throw heavy shots, and I think Valdéz is getting hurt here. It could be TKO on the feet. I could see it on the ground, him taking Valdéz down and just smashing him. I like Evan Elder pretty much everywhere here, man.
Yeah, dude. Are all these fights loser leaves home fights? I mean, this one, could we be saying goodbye to Tyson Nam? Could we be saying, you know what I mean? It's like even Perez and you know, it's like a lot of these fights, they got to be thinking their job might be on the line.
Yeah, I'd say, you know what, dude? Besides maybe Azat Maksum, because he's just debuting, I could see, I mean, Ailin Perez, if she gets beaten pretty dominantly by an Ashley Evans Smith coming off a long layoff, maybe someone they release too. Yeah, I think the first four, you know, most of the fighters besides Azat Maksum are maybe on the chopping block here. Yeah, that's interesting, right? That's how we're starting this card off. That could make for some damn good fights, knowing that the jobs are on the line, baby.
For sure. When your boss lets you know, hey, I'm counting the numbers, you know what I mean? Then you might actually bite down on your mouthpiece a little bit. I don't know. People will respond differently, of course. That might make some people fight conservative too. You never know how somebody responds, but hopefully that means more finishes for us in these prelims.
I hope so too, my man. And the next fight, I think, gets even better. We have Austin Lingo versus Melquizael Costa. Listen, I'm picking Costa to win here, Mike Finch. I like Lingo's style in certain matchups, but we learned a lot in that Landwehr fight, and that proved to me again, Lingo is a guy that is very boxing heavy, but it's pure boxing. He really doesn't kick much. He's not known for a grappling game. It's not like he isn't competent in those positions, but as far as UFC caliber, I think Costa is the better kicker for sure. He fights with a Muay Thai kickboxing style, so I do think he'll be able to compete on the feet. Lingo just looking to throw punches. I can see Costa kicking him to the legs, mixing in some clinch work. I eventually see Costa getting his back and strangling him. The rear naked strangle, I've picked up the word. We took it from Donna Hare. You started using it. I'm following suit. I'm going the same side. Rear naked strangle for Costa. Win by submission. I think it's a fairly one-sided fight. I've said Costa's one of my more confident picks.
Nice, man. Yeah, rear naked strangle, right? Because you choke on spaghetti, you strangle a person, right? So rear naked strangle makes more sense. And yeah, I could absolutely see it because he's more of an MMA fighter. Looking at his tapology here, 6 wins by submission, but also 7 wins by knockout. I'm wondering if it could be a TKO. He's going to run the risk of getting clipped on the feet, of course. But when you're a more dynamic fighter, you know, if Nate the Train is finishing you, you know, that's not a good sign for me. Although Nate the Train did look pretty solid, even in his last loss there. We both picked against him, of course. But Nate the Train's a big problem, of course. But yeah, I do think that I could see a submission or a TKO on the ground. Thiago Moises just did it with the rear naked strangle, so that's definitely a pathway. Yeah, I'll go TKO. I'll go TKO with takedowns. I think kicking could be a big deal here too. I mean, when you get really heavy on that lead foot, calf kicks, how many times have we seen those be effective? So, you know, I wouldn't pick a finish here because it could go to a decision. Obviously, I'm saying TKO. I'm just saying as far as betting goes, you might want to just money line it.
Money line for Costa, it is a little bit wide. It sits at minus 240, but I do think confidence is on that money line side. Lingo plus 205 as a fairly large underdog in this fight. I'll read off the TKO line. It sits at plus 375, as does submission at plus 375. Hey, you're still getting money on inside distance. If that's something you want to play, you're thinking Costa finishes, but you're unsure because me and Mike are on opposite method of victory sides. So inside distance is plus 150, but that's a good tag at the plus 375 for either or KO or sub. And I think Costa is going to finish him. I guess I am expecting him to grapple maybe a little bit more here, seeing that I think he might look at, man, that's a clear path to victory. He can definitely strangle him. Good fight, though. And I think Costa is a fun guy to watch. I like his game. I'm a fan of him, man. I like Costa a lot, bro.
Yeah. He's just had a rough start, you know.
Yeah.
I do think Costa could potentially be a prospect in the UFC, be a guy who, I mean, you think he's challenging for a title? I wouldn't say all that, but
I'm not ready to jump. I'm thinking he's 26 though, so
yeah.
And he's at shoot their box. Obviously, it's not the Diego Lima shoot their box. It's the Joea Emilio, but note that he trains with Joe Anderson Brito. So that is somebody who's, pretty capable. And I think he's better than Lingo, man. I think he's more well-versed, and I expect him to win, and I'm excited as hell to see it too.
Absolutely. 0-1 in the UFC, but that doesn't tell much of the story, man. Thiago Moises, that's a pretty hard debut, right? Thiago Moises is getting thrown pretty high up there for your first fight. I imagine he'll beat a Lingo, and he just has to watch out for hooks, watch out for the hands.
Let's go. Win for Costa for both of us. Next fight on the card, ladies going after it. It's Istela Nunes versus Victoria Dudakova. I gotta go with Dudakova to win this fight here. She is a fairly large favorite, and I guess rather unproven at the UFC level. We know that Istela Nunes landed a nice punch against Yasmin Yaraigoy and dropped her in that fight, but she still was finished there. She has been submitted before. I think that Dudakova has a clear-cut wrestling and grappling advantage. Granted, she still is fairly young at only 24 years of age. I can't fade. I'm going to fade the bet of Dudakova, but I can't go against the Dudakova pick, man. I think that she's going to be able to win this fight on the ground. Istela Nunes is a, tricky kickboxer. 6-4 as a pro. I don't know. I'm not going the Nunes side. I'll go Dudakova, but she's a wide favorite. I don't like the tag at all. The betting side is not even something I'm looking at.
Exactly. And she's 24 years old. I mean, at 24 years old, she was born in what, 2000? I mean, that's pretty bizarre, right? 1999. That's
my
pretty
age, bro.
So your age, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know. I think that you would have to pick the 6-0 versus the 6-4, but I do appreciate the UFC experience. I mean, how many times have we seen newcomers come into the UFC against the UFC vets and they don't do well? So, 24 years old, heavy favorite. I think I'm good on betting on this one, but you would have to pick against Istela Nunes. She does not, she does not have a complete game yet, and I could imagine her getting out wrestled in this one.
Yeah, I like Dudakova, and also the fact that, Istela Nunes, 30, almost 31 in the fight game. Is she able to make significant improvements time in, time out? I don't know. I just haven't seen it yet. We've seen her in the UFC 3 times now. I will say, impressive fight against Sam Page. She was tough there. So that kind of, is a little bit concerning. If you're considering betting Dudakova, you could find yourself running into trouble because Sam Page is dangerous. She's tough.
Yes, 100%. Sam Page. I mean, look at the Yasmin, right? Let me go to her Tapology here.
She's got some names.
Yasmin. Yasmin, who was coming in at 9-0. Sam Hughes, who's kind of a gangster. I mean, even though Sam Hughes came in at 5-4, she switched teams around that time. Like, she's actually decent. She's respectable. Ariane Carnelosi. These are, even though she's losing, like, she's fighting some of the better girls in the UFC. That means something,
Degenerate parlay, Mike Finch. Istela Nunes, Ashley Evans Smith. Degenerate parlay with 2 underdog ladies, bro. Let's do it on the prelims. I think I might have to create it.
I think because they're dogs, you would go straight bets because they're both live. I mean, you can't say Istela Nunes is completely out of this fight with the UFC experience. So no. Don't get me wrong. I got the kid. I think Dudakova gets it done, but top control, takedowns, hangs on to Nunes, probably goes all 3. Listen, if Nunes and Ashley Evans Smith show up on weight and have a fair bit of confidence at face-offs, I'm not flipping any picks, but I'm looking at a 690 plus tag for the ladies parlay. Might be picking against them, but that's like a straight in women's fights. Bet the dog some of the time, especially lower level. It could end up fucking cashing. AJ and I just did a parlay for the bare knuckle bets show. AJ's was what plus 700 was your parlay?
About plus
You're
700,
wild
yeah.
right now, bro. Why are you so damn wild today?
I don't know. I think it's possible, man. That's not my parlay of the show here, but I'm just saying maybe, you know.
AJ's going gangster, brother. These are prescription, by the way. You guys like these?
Yeah.
Like,
They look good, man. They look good, bro.
Can't even tell. Look, AJ, I'm gonna go with the kid.
Yeah,
but,
same.
But you know, are you gonna bet on this kid making her debut?
No, I wouldn't. I would not. Next fight on the card, we got Tucker Lutz versus Melksik Baghdasaryan. I'm going to be picking Tucker Lutz in this fight a lot. Melksik is a guy who looks phenomenal on the feet. He comes from a kickboxing background, and he also actually fought pro in boxing too. He's a really dangerous striker. Last fight, he was winning against Josh Kulabale, ends up getting submitted. It was just one of those positions where Kulabale find the perfect opportunity to get the back, and then boom, strangle is there, fight is over. But even against the Danish Bajukas, right, that fight, what was it, Contender Series, I see Baghdasaryan later, backed against the cage, controlled a bit. Tucker Lutz is not some guy that's just a washout in the UFC. I know you might look at it and say, oh, he's 1-2 in the UFC. He's lost 2 in a row, 12-3 pro. He was 8-0 as an amateur fighter. And also, yes, he has pretty decent striking, comes from a base of grappling. He's a physically strong guy that I really think is going to look to impose his will on Baghdasaryan. Obviously, Tucker Lutz knows pure kickboxing, Baghdasaryan has an advantage. Yeah, Tucker Lutz, I wouldn't say is a bad MMA striker, but he has been caught in fights before. Never knocked out, but has been caught. I do see him putting pressure on a Baghdasaryan, looking to shoot, but more so looking to engage the clinch early. You have to wear on a Baghdasaryan in the first round or so. And then later on, I expect takedowns to start landing. And that's where Tucker Lutz is going to shine. He's going to pepper some ground and pound against the cage with Baghdasaryan on his butt. He's going to work towards taking the back. And I do think he gets the choke here. I'm going Tucker Lutz to win it by submission. I think Melksik Baghdasaryan is a guy, you know, with a fair amount of striking hype, and his game looks good there. But I can't discredit a guy 12-3 as a pro, came into the UFC with a good amount of steam, and then, you know, an undefeated amateur background too. I got to go with Tucker Lutz. Mike Finch, what are your thoughts, man?
You're kind of selling me, bro, because I think Baghdasaryan is much more like talented, like a talented striker. You know, more finesse, set stuff up better. Just, you know, a lot of things you want to look for and see. I could imagine him catching Tucker Lutz, but with a grappling approach, he could wear him out. They're in the little cage, right?
Little cage, bro. Little cage.
You might have convinced me, buddy. I wrote down Baghdasaryan KO, but you're making me think Tucker Lutz. I think the fight is about the takedown. That would make sense. I mean, with Tucker Lutz having a lot of experience and you know, the ability to wrestle better, maybe he does get the takedowns here, man. I'll flip it. Tucker Lutz grinds out a decision. Give me 29-28 though, because I do think he's going to have trouble when this fight's at distance. He needs those takedowns, but he could probably work in the clinch. He could probably push him into the fence a little bit.
Listen, bro, I think Tucker Lutz is probably being slept on a bit because people are not even remembering. He's only 29, right? Baghdasaryan, he's 2 years older than him at 31. So Lutz, more experienced MMA fighter. I think a better grappling game. So Baghdasaryan is trying to play catch up with his ground skills. I think Lutz is going to continue to get better. I look at Daniel Pineda fight. Yes, Pineda is stopping the takedowns of Tucker Lutz, but Daniel Pineda is a fucking savage on the ground. Tucker Lutz, to me here, has that clear edge. And I'm going Lutz, Mike Finch. And I got to quickly bring up Trash Monkey, who did bring a little heat to Mike Finch. Mike,
he's trashing me. He's trashing me.
He paid you for it at least, though. He dropped the $2 Canadian. Listen.
I appreciate the money, right? I was filling up my gas tank. I was like, Michael Bowman helped me out today. I appreciate that. So Trash Monkey, you could send me more money and we could talk about it. I picked, what was it? Minus 2,000. So I picked.
You had the plus two. You had the plus 2,000. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. I picked some of the craziest odds ever. No, look, he Bo Nickel let his hands go, brother. That was good to see. I mean, did anybody else really pick Bo Nickel boxing his way to a KO? No. That was pretty dope, man. It looked like Valentin was a little nervous to be in there, dude. Yeah. Did you think the same thing? He looked like he was sweating in there.
Dude, the UFC octagon jitters.
Yeah, it's real.
The moment seemed like it had him so overwhelmed. Then he's like, "Holy shit, I got to stop this guy's takedowns." Fuck, now he's punching me in the face. What the hell's going on?
Honestly, that's exactly what Valentin wanted, right?
Yeah.
That's the best thing. You got a Bo Nickel who's letting his hands go coming at you. I mean, if I told you guys before the fight, okay, Bo Nickel is not going to wrestle at all in this fight. He's just going to come at him aggressive with the hands. Those odds wouldn't have looked like that,
Right.
you know? So he actually got the fight he wanted. Turns out Bo Nickel's ready to compete at the highest levels, you know? So the training partner I talked to was saying Bo Nickel's green. These are the things that make him not green. I mean, that was a great performance, and it's exactly what you want. You know, if you're Mike Brown, if you're, you know, a coach of Bo Nickel, you want to see Bo Nickel go in there and get a striking KO. That's exactly what he needed. So no shame in my game. I'm here. Here's my full face, trash monkey. Let's see yours. Zoom in on that fucking picture. You're going to bring that fucking face around here talking shit? I don't think so. Thank you for the $2.
Thank you, brother. Damn, that was funny, bro. Hey, listen, the odds for this fight I got to bring up. It's Lutz and Baghdasaryan. I am on underdog. I've swayed Mike Finch to join the dark side, but I think it's the side of the light, bro. I think Tucker Lutz at plus 127 now. His line has dropped since I originally played it at plus 185. Obviously, people are on that underdog. Plus 127, Tucker Lutz. Melsik Baghdasaryan minus 147. Do I like the submission prop? Not nearly as much as the money line with confidence, but plus 650 win by submission as opposed to Lutz just a decision win. It's plus 300. Plus 650 is a big tag for Lutz by sub. I do think Lutz by sub is live in the later rounds, but the money line is where your best bet is going to lie for sure.
Grinding, bro. He should get out there like Randy Couture, push him through the fence like cheese through a cheese grater. Just make sure he's stuck to him. If Lutz does that, closes the distance, I see him winning the fight. If he wants to stand on the outside and kickbox, he's probably getting fucked up.
Let's go. Tucker Lutz. Trust me. He's going to close the gap, baby. Let's go. Next fight is our main card opener. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We got Terrance McKinney and Nazim Sadykhov. Mike Finch, I picked Sadykhov throughout the week. I've been picking him, man. But it's not like I want to be picking Sadykhov. As a fan, it's like, yo, I want to ride McKinney. I just feel like Sadykhov is the more technical striker. I know McKinney is dangerous early, but I still have questions about how he'll fight going longer. Is he a guy that now is going to, you know, put the foot on the brakes a bit and try to fight more technical? And then he gets into a technical kickboxing fight and he ends up losing a decision against the Sadykhov. It's a lot of what ifs and I don't knows because a brutal knockout against Bone Fiend last time. I mean, that can definitely, you know, do some things to a fighter's psyche. So I don't know for sure what we're going to get out of Terrance McKinney. I do know that there was a lot of hype on him at one point, but Sadykhov does have proven technical skills, was in a hard fight against Evan Elder. He was, I think, starting to come on around the time the fight was stopped. I think like, you know, he was turning the heater up. He's shown he can go long. I think he's slicker in the stand-up than McKinney. I think McKinney's the better wrestler, pure-wise and athleticism-wise, but actual grappling skills, Sadykhov, you know, with the, you know, Longo Weidman team. So I don't have doubts in his ground skills necessarily. I don't see him getting just bullied on the mat by McKinney. I got to go Sadykhov, but I'll say decision, dude. I'll say the Sadykhov by decision.
I mean, that's the best way he could fight, right? Try to be a little conservative, a little safe. He doesn't want to bang with Terrance McKinney, but I could imagine him doing it, man. Terrance McKinney has a way of getting these guys fired up. You know, he finishes Faraz Ziem. I really like that one. Finishes Matt Frivola. I mean, he's got some nice wins in the UFC. Obviously, people all seen that Bone Fiend ridiculous KO. Yeah, hell yeah, it's hard to bounce back from that. But the kid's 28 years old. I met him. What was I in Seattle, Washington? He came to the Bellator card. What a nice guy, man. I'm totally rooting for him. So I definitely feel myself, like you said, rooting for Terrance McKinney. Very exciting fighter. Yeah, Sadykhov does have a pathway to victory here. It's just kind of like making it a sparring match and putting the grappling on him. I do think McKinney's going to be a more explosive wrestler, obviously a more explosive striker. He's just the type of guy who can get knockouts, man. So I'm rooting for Terrance McKinney, and I guess that's going to push me over to go on Terrance, especially since he's a dog. You know, looking at the money here, Sadykhov is a favorite. I don't know. The Evan Elder win's a really good one, but Terrance McKinney's capable of bouncing back. This is not too crazy of a matchup for him. I think maybe Sadykhov decides to go toe-to-toe a little bit. Maybe he fucks up, AJ. Maybe it's tough fighting this kid who likes to throw down. And I'm at least hoping I get a Terrance McKinney knockout.
Terrance McKinney money line plus 131. I do think he's a dangerous underdog. It's definitely a coin flip fight. Sadykhov at minus 151, the favorite. I like the over 1.5 at plus 160. If McKinney is to win, I will say, I think that Sadykhov is able to survive a first round and a half. I don't know, plus 160. Sadykhov, a technical guy. I could even see McKinney realizing that, you know, when you go in balls to the wall against some of these better guys in the world, you're not going to get them out of there like you would, you know, against back end or regional scene guys. Sadykhov is another young, hungry guy on the come up. So to me, my mindset is, okay, could it be a longer fight? I'm going to say the over could potentially be live at the plus money tag. But I am going to pick Sadykhov. I like Terrance McKinney a lot. So it's like, you know, fan pick side. Obviously, I want to be leaning McKinney, and I won't be disappointed to take an L with the pick in Sadykhov. Not throwing the money line down, sitting back and enjoying. I don't know. That over is not something I've played yet. It's just something maybe I shall consider, bro.
It's an OV, AJ. Aren't you always confident in
No,
these?
no,
OVs?
not dude. I've officially voided out the OVs because we're starting to see so many OVs in the octagon, and now there's an oversaturation. At one point, when you had an OV, you knew that he was the best of the bunch. Now we have a lot of solid fighters from, you know, that part of the world with the OV, but I'm officially taking a step back on the OVs. I faded OV Abu against Sean Strickland. That worked out well. Here I am riding with the OV, but not because of the namesake. Not because of the namesake.
All right, so the OVs got diluted. There's there's too many in the mix now.
I think so, man. I think that is true. I think now there's so many guys.
Don't have an in and out in Chicago. You know, they got to keep them in California. They got to keep the quality up. You can't oversaturate the fucking market with the OVs. It's interesting to hear, my friend.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking, man. But hey, Sadykhov for the win for me. Mike Finch on McKinney.
I think
McKinney's
bomb on him, my friend.
Like
Come on, McKinney. In that little apex cage, he's going to let his hands and his legs go. Give me that knockout, Terrance. Come on.
Come on. Now you got me room for Terrance McKinney, even against my pick. Fuck it, bro. Fan-sided, no money on the line. Let's hope for a McKinney, even though I'm going Sadykhov. Next fight on the card, we got Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler. I will say this, Mike Finch. I'm a Chelsea Chandler fight fan. The way that she comes to fight is dog tough, Stockton, California. You can see it in the way she moves, in her mannerisms, the way she fights. She brings like a female Diaz brother. She's the Diaz sister that we all needed. And unfortunately, they're throwing her in a little bit too soon against a Norma Dumont, who's a very consistent performer and someone who fights more on the safer side. Intelligent game planning, winning decisions. I think Chelsea Chandler would fight better against someone who's maybe willing to bang with her a bit. I feel like Norma Dumont is going to be a hard matchup for a Chelsea Chandler in her second UFC appearance. I'm going to go Norma Dumont for the win. I'm thinking decision. I could see her having control time against the cage, competitive in the stand-up. I think Chandler hits a little bit harder, but like, not that Norma Dumont is overly slick, but like there's a little more fat on her punches as opposed to Dumont's. And, I wish I could be picking Chandler, but I'm not going to pick off the hype. I'm Chelsea Chandler style. Awesome, fun to watch, way more entertaining usually than a Norma Dumont would be. But Dumont's way to win is making it her style of fight, and that's what I'm expecting her to do.
Yeah, she's a decision machine. I mean, Norma Dumont, 80% of her wins by decision. And, she's fought Aspen Ladd, and she lost a split decision to Macy Chiasson, but still a split decision. I could see her grinding this one out and adding another decision. Chelsea Chandler's got a nice little streak going herself. Stoliarenko's a nice win, but Other than that, not too impressed. Probably a good fight. Probably one you should hesitate betting on.
Yeah, I think you probably said it perfectly, man. Maybe that over ends up hitting, but I do got to bring some donos up in the chat. We got Trash Monkey throwing another $2 Canadian. OVs now suck like Mike's locks.
Hey, do they suck as good as Trash Monkey's mother? Because that would be phenomenal. Okay, Trash Monkey, these better be US dollars. All right, you better not be giving me no bullshit here. All right, we're gonna need like $10. You keep talking shit. And then Ali Point VTV.
Let's go.
Topping them, all right, just with this one dono is topping Trash Monkey's trash ass dollar amounts. Everybody send $2 to the hardest working guy on picks, Mr. AJ. And that's the type of respect I'm looking for out here, Ali. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. I must say I've been entertaining my family all week. I didn't work that hard this week, but I will continue to put it in for you, my friend. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for watching.
Ali Point VTV, Trash Monkey, we appreciate both of you savages for throwing us some dollars. Listen, Mike, this fight here, the odds are fairly close. Dumont is -130 as the favorite. Chelsea Chandler at +110 as the underdog. I expect this fight probably to go into the later stages at -240. Note, though, Norma Dumont was KO'd against Megan Anderson. So is it impossible for her to put out? No, she's been put out once before. But has been doing fairly well since then. And, beating decent enough girls who have UFC experience. I'll say that the UFC experience gets her to win, but I will be consistently excited to watch Chelsea Chandler whenever she's on fight cards, man.
Yeah. I think she probably gets control. I think the style of sort of controlling where the fight takes place is going to prevail here. So that's why I think this one could actually not be the most entertaining fight on the card. I don't think you'll get a, Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner type fight in this one.
Yeah.
But, we can hope for it. And, with these female fights on this card, I mean, have you ever heard this before? It's tough to pick them.
It's wild shit. We'll see what happens. Dumont for the win for us both over Chelsea Chandler. Let's keep running up. Next fight on the card, we got Albert Duraev versus Jung Park. I'm going to be picking Albert Duraev in this fight here. I think that he's going to be tricky for Park's style because Park, in a lot of matchups, as of recent especially, he has that wrestling edge. He's able to take guys down and beat them up. Now, normally he also does have fairly solid boxing chops too. Win over Eric Anders by split decision, I'd say, is actually fairly impressive for Park. I think Duraev, though, coming off a tough split win over Chidi Njokuani, I feel like Duraev's going to be able to stick to him a bit more if he does get any type of grappling positions. I think he's a little bit faster with his ground transitions and just grappling overall. In the striking, pure boxing, I favor Park. Overall, kickboxing, I don't think Duraev is going to be easy to deal with. He's a fairly athletic guy, not a super athlete or anything like that. He's fairly quick on the feet. I'm picking Duraev to win it. I can see a late submission. I've been saying late sub all week, so I'll continue to ride with that. But it wouldn't blow my mind if they end up going long. But I do think Duraev outworks him and gets a win.
Yeah, I think Duraev should just avoid a boxing match in this fight. I mean, Duraev's going to be the better wrestler. Funny enough, Park's last 2 wins are by submission, right? By that rear naked strangle. I don't think he strangles Duraev. I do think Duraev can control this thing. I imagine him getting that under over on the fence and working well there. Duraev's definitely going to be able to be the guy to win rounds in this fight. Although, they score damage a lot. If Park could just let his hands go a little bit, I do think that he could get something going. Duraev should have this thing. Does an EV count, AJ? The V at the end, if they're from that part of the world, the Caucasus Mountain regions, we'll say it slightly counts, but picking him because I think he's going to win and not just no bias towards the EVs and the OVs anymore. I do think, though, Duraev does have a tricky enough wrestling game to solve the Jun-Young Park puzzle. Now, as far as the odds, Duraev is an underdog at +135, which, bro, I've said it all week. I was actually really kind of surprised. I was thinking, okay, Duraev fighting against Park. I'm thinking Duraev at -150. No, Park is actually at -155. So the
odds are kind of flipped in the opposite of what I assume to see them at, which is interesting. Something to note, though, about Duraev. Duraev by sub, I'm not overconfident that it happens. I think money line is always better, but it is plus 425 if Duraev is to win by submission. We have seen Park strangled in the past. He was strangled in a fight against Fluffy Hernandez, but no, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, we got to be fair, is pretty slick with the way he strangles his opponents. Also, Shavkat Rakhmonov with a submission win over Jung Young Park. So some interesting notes there on the regional scene, or rather the outside the UFC scene, international scene probably.
The MMA groomer says that Park is the most underrated man in the UFC, but he's been getting love. I'm looking at some of these odds against Eric Anders. He was minus 200 favorite. That was a split decision. Minus 225 against Joseph Holmes. Dennis Tulin minus 225. Again, he's a favorite at minus 160. So underrated by who? Apparently not the bookies.
Yeah, maybe the people. And hey, listen, Lamar Lockett's got to get some love from us. Thank you for the $2, Lamar. We appreciate you a ton. And I like that trophy right there. You're a real champ, my friend. You're a real champ.
We'll add it to the list. Right now, my camera is on top of a trophy that AJ and I earned working on some stuff for BKFC. I still got to open it. So I'm going to add your trophy to the list. Thank you so much, Lamar.
This is a question he had, too, that I will bring up here. Please. In general, what is the best strategy to put the bet on point spreads on UFC on DraftKings? So with DraftKings, something that I've learned, now I'll be honest, as of recent, I haven't been doing DraftKings lineups. Not going to lie to you. You're actually making me want to do it because I was thinking about it last week and regretting not doing it for 290. What I think with DraftKings is something you have to consider is possibilities of victory to the price tag. You can be against your own pick, but if it's a 50-50 pick and you have someone that maybe is a lot cheaper than your pick who's a slight favorite, or maybe a minus 200, and then you're like, yeah, but they have a chance to lose. Maybe you go that side. Also, you want to go with people that are going to earn points. So fighters that land either a lot of takedowns, do a lot of damage, or obviously get finishes, man, with those DraftKings lineups. That's something that personally I think you're not always maybe even going to get every one of your picks. So it's got to be like your most confident pick that you might be wrong in. That's a dog type of situation there. That would be my 2 cents. Mike, you got anything else to add on there, brother?
My 2 cents is I go to DraftKings because I want to bet on BKFC, and I can't because I live in California.
Yeah, unfortunate, man. DraftKings.
Dude.
That's the Mike Fidge. Mike Fidge is disappointed because he knows I already bet on bare knuckle today, bro. I threw it down, son.
And he makes sure to bet before our show drops because AJ and I got a hypothesis, okay?
Yeah.
We think that when our show drops and we make those BKFC picks, that they start moving the lines. They listen to our show, AJ. So you better slide those bets in beforehand.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I agree. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Mike Finch, we're on Duraev in this fight. And I think that you're thinking decision. I'm thinking sub, but I get the decision side. Decision win for Duraev is plus 300 in the matchup here, my man. So, hey, let's go. We're going with Duraev, victory, and underdog city as we jump to the featured bout of the night, which is now Ottman Azaitar versus Francisco Prado. Mike Finch, you remember when Prado was coming in to the UFC? I was even confident he could pull it off against someone like Jamie Malarkey. Obviously, I was wrong in that matchup there, and he ended up getting beat on the scorecards, but that's a hard debut matchup. Someone longer, taller, very experienced. And then I look at Ottman Azaitar, and I'm looking at Prado's size advantage. I'm looking at Azaitar being brutally knocked out last time against Matt Frivola. And the way he fights is a bit reckless. He's a guy that will throw caution to the wind to look for a knockout. I feel like he'd be a damn good street fighter, bro. He's coming at you with everything. Prado on the other side, I think can find the counter strike. Note that he's taller and longer. I feel like the confidence is high as hell for him as well. 21 years of age too. Azaitar, 33, bad knockout loss. I don't know. When I start digging into, Azaitar's matchups and, I remember the hype on him early, we're like, maybe he's a little overrated, right? He's fought, 2 guys in the UFC that he has wins over are 2 guys that are no longer with the promotion. It's Kamaworthy and Timu Paklian. Neither of those guys are in the UFC any longer. So Matt Frivola was his real step up in competition, and he got brutally chinned in that fight by, kind of opening himself up to the counter strike as he's looking to blitz. I can see Prado doing the same thing. So I'm going Prado by knockout, Finch.
Prado by knockout. Look, Jamie Malarkey showed his UFC experience and really was able to use his length in that one, man. I don't see that happening here. 5'8" versus 5'11", and you said it, that Azaitar likes to get in there and get dirty. That's exactly what Prado wants to do too. I mean, I do think that I had higher hopes for him than I saw against that Jamie Malarkey fight. I'm going to trust that that's not all Prado brings. I'm looking at his old fights, and I'm seeing how talented he is. I do think he could turn his hips over, land a big bomb, counter punching, just like you said. He could also be first and then third, right? Get in there, make Azaitar step into that pocket, and then blast him with some shots. I could see him putting Azaitar out. Yeah, and Ottman Azaitar, dangerous too. It's a good fight. I like this fight. This is one of those where these are why I'm tuning in. It's Jack Della Maddalena. It's to see how Prado does against Azaitar. These are fun fights, and I'm hoping for a Terrance McKinney knockout, and you could say the same thing here. I'm hoping for a Prado knockout. I want to see these kids start to rise up, and this is the card to do it.
Agreed, bro. Listen, bro, I like Prado for the win a lot. I think it's a brutal fight that ends inside of the distance. That under 2.5 at -205, I will say pretty likely. -104 for Prado to Azaitar's -116. So Prado is a slight underdog. I also do predict he wins by KO. That is sitting at +180. Now, if you're getting crazy and you want to go Prado by first round knockout, it's +325. Not suggesting anybody do that, because round propping it is like, taking it to the next level of risks. That money line, pretty much even tag, ever so slight underdog for Prado is what I like. And I also do like the under as well here, Mike.
Yeah, I do think it's a knockout, but you might as well money line it, folks. He went to decision in his last fight with Jamie, and it's possible that they just kickbox for 3 rounds. Yeah, I'm rooting for Prado knockout for sure. And at +180, is it worth it? Nah, I'd go even odds. Bet $50, win $50 sounds good to me.
Yeah, I agree. Prado money line, the A side here. Co-main event of the evening. I can't wait for it. It's Jack Della Maddalena versus Basil Hafez. JDM. He gets the nickname treatment from me, not only because I'm a fan, but also because his name is just ridiculously long. It's going to cover up the entire graphic there on the bottom. I'm like, JDM's the way. Listen, I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to knock out Basil Hafez in this fight here. I expect his hands to be on display. What I saw from Hafez last time out against Evan Cutter is a guy who fights with decent striking pressure and is willing to switch stances, but coming forward on a Jack Della Maddalena, damn, you better be ready to slip shots, move, and get the fuck out of the way. I think he is going to get knocked out. This is just one of those matchups that are kind of tailor-made for JDM style. I do believe that he's, a extreme talent in the sport and also a future contender. He was originally supposed to fight at UFC 290 against Sean Brady and then Josiah Harrell. And now he's got Basil Hafez, who I respect, willing to step up. I do think, though, JDM is going to get his win. I love that he stuck around. He said, yo, I'll stay for the week. Get me a fight. I want to get in the cage. You got to love that about a prospect. JDM, I'm telling you, man, like a future legend is what I'm feeling. I think he's a guy that sticks around in the UFC a long time, and we're going to remember a lot of massive JDM moments. This is a great co-main event spot for him. Some fans that maybe, haven't necessarily watched him. I think most people have, but if you haven't, holy shit, you're in for a treat, because his boxing, in my opinion, right now is some of the best in MMA. Especially welterweight division. The way he strings his punches together, the way he slips and moves and rips to the body, it gets me excited. It's a special style. When I saw it for the first time, I'm not comparing it to Conor McGregor, but it has an aura of something unique and extremely good that is just not what we, will see often for prospects coming into the UFC. I'm going JDM knockout.
Yeah, his boxing is beautiful to watch, man. His ability to be both offensive and defensive. Like, he's the type of guy who keeps his hands high, sort of moves his head properly. He comes in, it looks like a pure boxer. I mean, he looks like a guy who came over from pro boxing and kept a lot of the defensive aspects that you'd want to see, like, moving after you punch. A lot of MMA fighters will throw a punch and then they're available for a counter. I was even pointing this out. It's hard to hate on him since he just won with a finish, but I was just pointing this out about he just beat Robert Whitaker. Jesus Christ.
Dricus du Plessis.
A long week, buddy. Dricus du Plessis. Yes, of course. Dricus du Plessis does the karate blitz really well, and he throws good straight punches down the pipe. But you'll notice he'll throw a straight punch, and then he'll pull his hand back, and his head is still there on the center line. You don't see Jack Della do that. Jack throws, and he rolls. He's moving his head when he's coming in, and hitting a moving target is much harder. If you guys like the Pro Bowl, if you like football, it's really easy to throw that football through that hula hoop, but they start moving that hula hoop and the quarterbacks start missing the damn thing. It's much harder to hit that moving target that Jack Della Maddalena has. AJ, the thing we have to caution people about is that Jack Della Maddalena is cutting weight twice. And you brought it up actually earlier with the Kevin Lee thing, right? Kevin Lee came in. Who did two? It was when Tony Ferguson fought Gaethje. It was 2 weight cuts, right? He had weight cuts back to back, and that could have potentially slightly affected him in that fight. Gaethje was probably just a better striker. But you get my point. 2 weight cuts back to back. Ballsy. Jack Della, I see that you don't want to go home without a dub, without a nice little paycheck and a nice hand raise, little highlight on your way, but brother, it does mean something. So at these odds, you guys have to consider the fact that he's cutting weight twice. Yes, you might see this in the parlay section. Yes, you might, but I'm just saying you should consider that he's cutting weight twice. Besides that, he should absolutely win this fight by knockout. Hafez, good in the first round. But we've seen him slow down in rounds 2 and 3. So is he the type of guy that's going to expose a tired Jack Della Maddalena in 2 and 3? He hasn't really shown to be that. Give me Jack Della knockout.
Jack Della knockout, and my guy John Januso throwing the knockout dono 20 USD to Uncle Vito. Oh, Mamma mia. I appreciate you, John Januso, my brother. Thank you for the $20. It's greatly appreciated. You supporting the show, throwing us the cash, my man.
John, you're the type of guy who makes me want to keep doing these Thursday nights. Last week, we were getting some great donos. This week, we're getting some great donos. You guys are making us think about keeping this thing on Thursday nights because me and AJ are doing better on Thursday night. If you love us on Thursday nights, you got to tell us, folks, okay? Because we're normally a Monday show. Back-to-back weeks, here we go Thursday night, and you guys have been so generous.
People love it.
John. Thank you, buddy. That's a dope hat, by the way, dude. That reminds me of Benjamin Franklin. He said when you go to France, you get way more pussy with the hat, with the crazy hats. So, John, maybe it's working for you too.
Let's go. John Januso, my guy, throwing the love. Listen, the odds are wide here for good reason. I don't think that Basil Hafez is the guy who exploits Jack Della Maddalena. I actually think Della Maddalena, I was picking him against Sean Brady, so you know where my confidence lies with him. -600 for Della, and then Hafez sitting at +425 is a pretty wide underdog. Maddalena by KO, I actually don't see a prop here. Let me dig elsewhere because right now I am not seeing any prop lines, but I will get it for you. I do think something to potentially consider would be like a first-round knockout if it's at a wide enough tag. Let's see if I find it here. Let me bring up Bet Online. I got it on the screen right now for myself, and let's see, man. Can I find it? Let's see if we can find the big money, my friend. I want to see. Is there any
drops in the comments and says, keep it on Monday. Are you seeing this, bro?
Ali said, keep it Monday.
Dono battle. Monday or Thursday. Let's do it. This is the proving. This is the place to do it in the dono section. That's how I like to do a vote. See, AJ puts up the polls on his other show. No, I want to see dono section fights.
That's great.
Ali, we have to keep it in mind. $2 is appreciated.
Thank you, Ali, my man. Listen, let me find these fucking. I want this knockout prop. Where we at? All right, do we have it?
Jack
I don't
Della's
have
got
any
good
props,
hands, bro. You
I
know
got
he's
5-1. I got 5-1 money line, minus 500 at Bet Online. I got the under at under 1.5 at minus 200. I got no props right now, but I think that it's going to be a knockout win in the first round for JDM, man. I'm riding that side.
Yes, although Hafez has good first rounds. I mean,
Yeah.
he's generally a tough guy to deal with in the opening round, and obviously he's going to be trying to grapple in this fight. I mean, against Jack Della Maddalena, what are you going to do? Go toe to toe with him? I think that Hafez is going to definitely try to close the distance and grapple. He's got, you know, half of his wins are by submission. Obviously, that's the pathway for him. So I think he's going to be shooting and grinding this thing out. Jack Della could definitely do it, but I would think Jack Della in 2 or 3 with that KO, because Hafez is going to definitely bring some grappling heavy. I mean, he should, right? He should bring grappling heavy style, especially in the first.
Got to shout out my guy, Mark Adam, real quick. Congrats on 18K. Yes, sir. Hit 18,000 subs. Thank you, bro. He said you'll be changing that K to an M in no time. Yeah, 1 million, bro. That gold plaque is going to be in the background here very soon, man. Sooner than you might think, my man. Thank you, Mark Adam. Much love to you, brother. Listen, I love this fight here for Jack Della. I think Hafez has got balls for stepping in. He's a tough out and an interesting UFC edition. But yeah, JDM with confidence for me. And I think he's getting a knockout, brother. You ready for the main event? Ready to rock?
Let's go.
It's main event time. People watching, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I was just hyping up hitting 18,000 subscribers here on the channel. So help me get a couple more as I close in on 20,000. Consistently tune into Moneyline. I guess now there's debate whether it's on Monday or Thursday. Normally it's a Monday show, but right now Thursday, you know, it's 10:54 p.m. by me. Mike Finch doing it's like 750. We got 210 people up in here. Numbers are high for a card that maybe doesn't have the most steam. So we'll let you guys know. They're
nighttime people. You know, us MMA people are night. I don't go to bed until like 2 or 3 in the morning. I feel like you folks are similar. Yes.
Yeah. I
MMA
think so.
Folks stay up late, brother. So we're gonna have to look at it. I see Dirty Reg trying to keep it for Thursday night. I see you guys. We'll have to keep considering.
Yeah.
Hey, Holly Holm is in her 40s and headlining cards, AJ. Okay.
Until the wheels fall off, bro. Okay. Until the wheels fall off. Listen, she's fighting Mayra Bueno Silva, who is dangerous. She's got a nasty armbar if it does go to the ground. On the feet, I like her kickboxing. She digs to the body very well with the lead hook. She has nasty low kicks. She's a pretty good fighter when she's able to pressure her opponents backward. The thing is, Holly Holm is a more schooled. It's not like more schooled. I feel like that's not the right word. She has more tools within her disposal. Holly Holm can strike. I could also see her outworking Bueno Silva in the clinch and getting on top. Though I respect Bueno Silva's pure jiu-jitsu, I do not see Holly Holm being armbarred by Mayra Bueno Silva here. If Holly Holm is on top of Bueno Silva, I think she's going to be like an anchor on top of her. Going to be very hard to remove. I could see a Holly Holm who really is using the grappling. I mean, we saw it against Yana Santos last time, might potentially see it with Bueno Silva. I think that Holly Holm expect a lot of cage work for her. I call her the queen of the clinch for a reason a lot of the time. And I can see her working in the clinch. She's already said, win here, I see myself in the title picture. So her plan is a win. And what would be better for Holly Holm? A hard, grind-heavy decision or a sick finish? Mayra Bueno Silva never been long, so I've said this. I think a later TKO ground and pound in the 4th round is actually kind of live here. So Holly Holm to win is the official pick. I'm thinking decision is probably what happens, but Holly Holm, who's hungry for a title shot, if she goes out there and finishes Bueno Silva, she hasn't finished a fight since Betch Correia in 2017, that would be massive for Holly Holm's stock and putting her much closer to a title fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight. I think that Bueno Silva's a submission ace, and it's like, are you gonna get Holly Holm down? Holly Holm's so damn strong in the clinch, man. I feel like she really changed her game when she prepared for Ronda Rousey's clinch. Like, she was able to work with some really good grapplers over there at Jackson Wink in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and her clinch game has always been good ever since then. It's like she really, really got better at just disengaging and also being really strong and hard to wrestle with in that clinch. You said she's going to be heavy on top, an anchor, I think you said. I like that, but I feel like the best thing she could do is hit her with those side kicks, move around in that cage. The problem is, AJ, they're in the little cage, but they're not like heavyweights. They're not going to be right on top of each other. At least she's got a little bit of movement to use, and then in that clinch, it'll be probably competitive. Holly Holm may be a little stronger. I mean, it's kind of amazing. 41 years old, and here we are picking her. Fuck it. I think I've got to pick her by decision. Yeah. I just think it's a strange matchup for Bueno Silva because Bueno Silva's good on the feet, but she'll probably get side kicked in the stomach a lot. She'll probably get her knee stomped on a little bit. She'll probably run into some punches against the Hall of Fame boxer in Holly Holm. And, I need to see evidence that Holly Holm is slowing down, and I really haven't yet. You never know when the next fight's going to be, when the 40-something-year-old's going to slow down. But until I see it, how am I going to predict it? I think Holly Holm is getting a lot of attention over there at Jackson Wink, especially from Mr. Winklejohn. I mean, this is his star pupil, and I do think that she's not just another body in the gym. She's the focus, man. She's the star. So them being able to put a lot of time into her and prepare her properly, she's fighting a little bit more consistent now, right? I mean, Holly Holm being active is a good thing, especially, at her age, her advanced age. I'll go Holly Holm decision. Give me 4 out of 5 rounds. Maybe she gets taken down once and has some trouble on her back. Obviously, Bueno Silva wants to wrap up a neck. I mean, what Bueno Silva wants to do is get to a top position, land a couple shots, wrap up the neck. Is it possible? Yes. I got to side with Holly Holm's kickboxing and takedown defense by decision, AJ.
Holly Holm for the win for both of us here. She's a -185 favorite, and then her opponent, Bueno Silva, is +160. But I want to note something to you, Finch. If you thinking there's a chance Holly Holm gets a TKO, I know it's been a long time, but she is +525 for that TKO. Is a little bit wide. Holly Holm has played it safe, but with a potential title fight looming, an impressive stoppage win would be massive for her stock. And just because I want to talk degeneracy, Holly Holm, 4th round KO +3,000. Just something I had to bring up.
Whoa. It's only by head kick, though, AJ, because
I could see ground and pound, I guess, of a tired Bueno Silva, because I feel like Bueno Silva in the 3rd might start slowing down a bit. And what if Holly, uses that strength, gets to maybe a crucifix, starts ripping elbows?
But you don't want to dive into the shark's mouth.
No,
I mean, if you're Holly Holm's coach, are you going to have her bombing on this jiu-jitsu black belt, right? I mean, Bueno Silva is definitely nasty on the ground. Do you want her diving in? I'm saying doing this. Get up so I can sidekick you in the stomach again. And I do think that Holly Holm does her best work at distance in this fight and potentially in that under-over clinch as well. It's a good fight. I see everybody, is pretty happy about the Holly Holm picks. Maybe I'm not as confident as you guys because Bueno Silva, this is her moment. I mean, going back to we've been talking about it all day, like who's got more on the line. It's like Bueno Silva is going to want this victory. It's very important for her to get this. Is a big name. If she could wrap up Holly Holm in a guillotine or something, dude, that would be a life changer. Fuck game changer. A life changer for Bueno Silva. Does she do it? It only if we see Holly Holm be a shell of her former self, and I haven't seen evidence to suggest that yet. So yeah, I would imagine though, AJ, instead of like running forward with a TKO, that she would be conservative in this matchup, especially since in a pure grappling match, I'd be picking Bueno Silva by submission.
All right. Hey, I respect him. I guess I'm just thinking Holly's so much stronger than her. So I could see Bueno Silva having a hard time getting the sub, noting that Bueno Silva, former women's flyweight. But I like Bueno Silva's game. I mean, I think she's good. I think she's fun to watch. I'm riding Holly Holm until the wheels fall off. There's only certain matchups where I'd be picking against Holly Holm right now, man.
He's riding Holly. Oh, I'm not
riding
gonna
Holly,
like
man.
that.
You know?
Dixon Sider says that Renato Moicano, Money Moicano, says that Bueno Silva has submitted Kayla Harrison at American Top Team multiple times.
Holy
If he's
shit.
not lying,
No.
that would be interesting. But
Dude, Hanato, my guy, he's dropping the heat, bro.
you have to, right? If you have to imagine that even though that could be true, I have submitted UFC fighters, even though that might be true in an MMA fight, all the dynamics are different.
Right.
So although you can submit somebody in the gym when they're engaging in leg locks, engaging in different positions with you, Holly Holm's going to, I think, be allergic to the jiu-jitsu. She's going to disengage. She's going to stay away from it. It's a much different thing, right? Eddie Bravo talks about this often, how when you're in the gym doing jiu-jitsu with somebody or just grappling in general, they want to engage with you. But in MMA, a striker wants to disengage. It's a much different type of a problem. And so that's why I'm saying Bueno Silva would submit her in a grappling match. I have no doubt, Dixon, that would happen in the gym as well. Yeah, I think you would be saying Holly Holm got tapped by Bueno Silva in the gym. Okay, what about a fist fight for $250,000 in a cage? Right. Things change.
Things change. Very true, Mike. Listen, we're both riding Holly Holm for the W here, Mike Finch, and that is going to lead us into the infamous lock of the night. UFC Vegas 77 lock of the night. Listen, Mike, I sat down after last week where I went Moreno and he ends up taking a split decision loss. There's been some fumbles and some rocky roads as of recent. And the line that showed itself to me was Tucker Lutz to win. Right. I said, listen, that's going to be my underdog lock this week because I believe in a guy who's dedicated his full game to MMA. Not that kickboxing is not a great base for fighting, but Melsic's going to be playing catch up on the grappling, whereas Lutz might have already started here and is continuing to progress his mixed martial arts game. And it's not like he isn't looking at Melcic Baghdasaryan and thinking, okay, and the coach is there too. We know this guy's an extremely dangerous striker, especially in that first round. He's going to be super slick and explosive. But if we can get a hold of him, we can close that distance, we can pressure him, especially in the small cage, we can shine. I'm going Tucker Lutz to win. I am going to call a late win by submission, but that money line is the A side. Personally got it at the plus 185 tag. You're not getting nearly as juicy odds now here on Thursday. The tag that I'm seeing for him at this moment is upwards of plus 135, but also as low as plus 127. So Tucker Lutz for the win. My lock this week. Underdog, baby.
Respect, brother. That's the one pick you got me to flip today, man. Yeah. I just hope he doesn't stand on the outside and kickbox. If he doesn't, I could completely see what you're saying, man. He is better at more aspects of that fight. Tucker Lutz is absolutely in that fight. So that's a cool one. Look, it's about even money. He's ever so slight underdog. I do think Duraev is going to be able to control Park. I think he's going to be able to beat him up pretty much anywhere but in the boxing realm. And Park's pretty good. Park's on a nice little streak. That's why he has a very, very, very slight favorite here, but I think Duraev is time. I think Chidi Njokuani is a tougher test for him. I know they went to a split decision and that it was a good fight, but look, Roman Kopylov, I mean, he's fought some good guys. At this point, I think he's better than a Park. Give me Duraev as my lock of the night.
Duraev is good plus money as well. Plus 135 for Albert Duraev. 2 underdog lock snipers this week. And let's jump into the parlays.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
Parlay time. Open up your wallets and let's bet on some fist fights. Mike Finch, we're about to bet on some fights and we need a parlay. Let me ask you, Mike Finch, since I was Mr. Fuego craziness on Bare Knuckle Bets earlier today, the people don't know it yet, but if you haven't seen Bare Knuckle Bets, it's on the BKFC.TV app. Make sure you guys check it out. Mike, are you bringing us some chaos or are we going on the safe side, my friend?
No, come on, man. It's the Republican primaries coming up. I'm feeling a little conservative. I am going to go ahead with Jack Della Maddalena, of course. Come on. Is that not the most obvious pick on this card? Right. Jack Della Maddalena is a problem. He's cutting weight twice, so be careful. but Jack Della Maddalena is a phenomenal striker, man.
Yeah.
He's very special. Is that not the guy everybody's most looking forward to seeing on this card?
That is.
We like Terrance McKinney. We like Holly Holm, but Jack Della Maddalena is so special. He's absolutely worth tuning in for. And then, I do think Prado can bounce back here, man. I like that Prado knockout play, but just money line it. So give me money line on Prado, which those odds are very nice. And then Jack Della is a fat favorite, but if we parlay it, we might walk away with a little capital.
Plus 130 for Jack Della Maddalena and Francisco Prado. Finch, I like where your head's at with JDM. I do think he's getting a win. Even though I'm not getting the greatest lines for JDM, I'm going to put him and Azat Maksum together. It sits currently at minus 209, but that's not going to be the final slate. Going to do a little bit of a safety prelim parlay with Melquizael Costa, Jack Della Maddalena. I guess he's not on the prelims, but there's a prelim fighter there. So they moved it up to the co-main event. I was thinking the other show because it was prelims all week. And then Azat Maksum trifecta is plus 122. I think there's a real chance that one ends up coming through. If you did want to get a little bit on the crazier side, though, I think you mix and match it. You add in the Finchman's pick of Prado plus 329. You're getting more than 3-1. Listen, I like the chaos factor, but those are like 4 solid picks that I think we dropped out that we have, strong confidence on. I'll lie to you though, Mike Finch. I won't lie to you rather. And I feel like the dog savagery of riding with the side of my guy Tucker Lutz, riding with Francisco Prado is a pretty good play at plus 364. And then you throw the Finchman dog lock plus 991, Lutz, Prado, Duraev, a little dog savagery. I had to read that one off.
Holy moly, you're getting people excited, bro. Bet with your heads. I have never told a person you must place this bet. I always say you guys got to place your own bets. Just take what we say as a little bit more data. You're hearing some of our opinions. I hope you guys always make your own decision when you guys bet. I'm looking at some of the comments here. I thought this was interesting. Holm, of course, Trash Monkey back again. Thanks for the show, boys. Best in the game park lock of the week. Of course, you're against me, Trash Monkey. We'll see, my friend. Lock of the week as Park. That's interesting, my friend. That's interesting. 2 up. Holm decision this weekend, guys. Just be logical. And then one more. Holly Holm does better in the small cage with no fans. I honestly could see her style being better in the big cage. So I guess maybe she's stuck in that small cage a lot. But dude, the small cage allows people to first exchange more. And then secondly, easier to get to clinches and grappling situations. You walk somebody, you back them up to the fence. Like the Dagestani's got to love that shit. You just walk the person into the fence. Holly Holm has that style where it's like a little bit of like Taekwondo karate mixed with the boxing. If I could pick as like Holly Holm's hypothetical coach, that's Mike Winklejohn, but I would think they'd want the big cage for Holly Holm. So interesting for you to say that. Hey, if that makes you more confident on a 42-year-old Holly Holm, go for it. It's just that 42 years of age that has me sort of questioning whether or not Bueno Silva can get it done. That's why she wasn't in my parlay or lock.
Yeah, my man. Mike Finch, I get it. I'm not putting Holm in the parlay or lock either. Maybe a main card parlay at some point, maybe, weigh-in show tomorrow or during the live stream. So, guys, make sure you tune into that weigh-in recap show tomorrow and then live for the entire card on Saturday with a nice fight companion. Cannot wait for it. Keep your eyes peeled on the content. I'm just waiting, guys, for more MMA news to drop because as soon as it does, I'm dropping content, bro. It's not just going to be picks. I'm bringing the news reactions with fire. We just got to get some big news. I'm hearing whispers of a Rousey comeback. Maybe, that would be something major. Yeah.
No.
Right. So I don't know. I think it's hypothetical. I think it's probably not true, but if it is, I'd be excited.
Bro, Amanda Nunes retires. Ronda Rousey thinking about coming back. Is there a correlation? I don't know. I'm just saying that a Juliana Pena Ronda Rousey fight, honestly, you got to think Ronda's in it.
Yeah, I'd watch the hell out of that. I'd watch the hell out of that fight. Count me in for Pena Rousey. I would be willing to give Rousey a title shot after 2 straight losses and not being out of in the game for a long time. It would be crazy. It would do huge numbers too. I mean, it's a massive pay-per-view for the women's division right now. Amanda Nunes was the only female that could carry a pay-per-view at this point now, without Amanda Nunes in the picture, there really isn't a female champion that I could see headlining a UFC pay-per-view right now. Ronda Rousey coming back? Absolutely.
Right. Ronda is that name. I mean, Dana White saw what she did in Strikeforce. I was one of the first people to be able to interview Ronda because I got to talk to her back when she was in Strikeforce. And man, to see where she went, like that first Misha Tate fight, when they marketed in Strikeforce, like the idea was, here are two beautiful women. You know, they were showing them in their dresses with their hair done and the high heels and everything. And then they showed how incredible they were at cage fighting. You know, it's extremely marketable. And of course, her going over there to pro wrestling, she'll bring some of those fans over. You know, Dana White's already like, Ronda, do you want to come back? Do you want to do this? These are the dollar amounts we're looking at giving you. The pay-per-views sell themselves. So Ronda Rousey coming back would be a big deal. I got to say, I'm a fan. You know, watching her break Misha Tate's arm live, that was badass.
Dude, I remember that fight, crazy enough, as a young kid, bro. I was a Strikeforce fanatic for a long time. I missed the Strikeforce days. That was a promotion outside of the UFC that was just, dude, it felt incredible watching those cards, man. I loved it. Classic, dude.
Yeah, man. That was, I mean, Strikeforce, maybe my favorite organization. I mean, Strikeforce was just awesome to watch.
Yes,
and that night I got to interview Judo Gene LaBelle. Rest in peace to the legend. He passed last year. Judo Gene LaBelle in the Bruce Lee movies, and one of Ronda Rousey's judo coaches. Obviously, she learned from her mother, who was a champion as well. I got to interview Judo Gene LaBelle that night. I wonder if it's on YouTube. Homework for you all. Type in Mike Finch, Judo Gene LaBelle. We talk about Bruce Lee being in MMA. He told me that Ronda Rousey he thinks would beat Bruce Lee in MMA. I'm sure that pissed off half the audience right now. So go check that interview out. Yeah, Judo Gene LaBelle, I got to meet that night. Pretty freaking cool. And you know, seeing Ronda Rousey's career full circle. I mean, how old is she? I don't think she's out of it, dude. I'd like to see her back.
I would too. So count me in, Mike. Brother, it's been a great show. It's been a blast talking these fights with you, from bare knuckle in the AM to here in the late PM, talking some UFC. Could not have been a more exciting day. My guy, thank you, brother. People watching, thank you. Run the likes up, and if you're new, subscribe. Keep your eyes peeled for all the content. And, you know, if there's any changes from Moneyline Monday to the old school Moneyline Thursday, we will let you know. So keep your eyes peeled on my community tab, because I always
drop it in the comments, folks. Should it be Moneyline Monday, or should it be Thursday night talking fist fights? Let us know in the comments, folks.
Thank you all. Let us know. Peace, guys, and we will see you all in the next one.